Hi, I'm Dr. Bertice Berry, and I want to tell you a story. Years ago, when I was in graduate school, I met one of the most influential women on the planet. She was not a professor, she was not a politician, she was not a business owner. Miss Nellie Boykins was a woman that I knew from a church that I went to just so that I could go to her house. One of my friends told me, if you go to this church, there's this lady after church. She makes the best Sunday dinner ever. And my roommate and I were missing that kind of family, that kind of connection. So we started going to that church. And within just a few Sundays, Miss Nellie Boykins, who was probably in her 80s when we met her, came over and said, "Baby, what you doing after church?" We were like, "Is this the woman?" We were invited to her house that was filled with everybody you can imagine, some related, some not. And every Sunday we discovered that the company would change depending on who was in town. Sometimes you'd see Jesse Jackson at Nellie Boykin's table, or the coach of a major NFL team. Whoever was in town, they somehow found their way to Nellie Boykin's house. And Miss Nellie made the world's best fried chicken. But I was a vegetarian, except on Sundays. She also made the most amazing biscuits. And when you had Miss Nellie's biscuits, you felt loved. You felt like you belonged. You felt like everything was possible. Sometimes around that table we'd discuss dissertation work or students, or sometimes we were just discussing what was going on with kids in the community. Sometimes the conversation was about God's love for us, and sometimes it was just about stockings. There were all kinds of conversations going on, and you could hear the laughter of children from the other room where they would go and eat and play afterwards. Cleanup was as joyful as the dinner itself because you got to continue that kind of fellowship. It was a powerful, powerful time for me. And Miss Nellie taught me that no matter what you had enough to share. And that when you shared it, it multiplied. That was always the lesson. We started going earlier and staying later for the longer cleanup. We would clean Miss Nellie's whole house and get there early enough to try to figure out what she was doing to those biscuits. We discovered that Miss Nellie made about the same amount of food every week, and somehow it stretched to all those people there, and there was always food left over. People always took plates home. Miss Nellie was influential because she brought people together. She showed them they were loved, and she showed them their worth. One Sunday, I got up the nerve to ask Miss Nellie how to make those biscuits. And she said, "Will you come next week early?" And I did. And Miss Nellie tried to show me how to make the biscuits. And she said, "Okay, baby, come back next week. You didn't get it this week, but next week you might be better." And she showed me how to roll out that dough and knead that dough. And she said it really is in the rolling of the dough. But our oven had to be at the right temperature. And Miss Nellie's oven wasn't brand new. Her house wasn't one of those spectacular houses. But when you walked in, you felt loved. You really, really felt loved. The oven had to be just right. The roll had to be just right. She cut it with the specific glass. She cut that biscuit. But even though I could make the ingredients and I rolled it what I thought was the right amount of pressure and I put it in the oven at just the right temperature, my biscuits never came to anywhere close to Miss Nellie's biscuits. I tried about 4 or 5 more times, and Miss Nellie said, "That's okay, baby. You got all kinds of ways of making biscuits." I didn't really understand what she meant 30 years ago until yesterday. We all have ways of making biscuits. The biscuit wasn't about just the best buttery, flaky, crunch in and then perfectly no doughy, nothing, perfect love biscuit. It was really about showing people that you were loved, showing them their worth, and bringing folks together. It was about restoration. It was about community. And what she was saying to me was, I had many other ways of doing that. I do have gatherings, and people kind of know me as the person who brings people together. Whatever I'm doing, I can bring folks together around love, that I can let them know that they are truly loved, and I can show them that they're worthy, that they're powerful, that they're amazing. I have many ways of making biscuits, but we all do. And if we're not using our time on this planet to make biscuits, then what are we all about? This powerful, amazing woman who didn't have a lot, didn't have all the education of the people around that table. She was old and frail and bent over, and we used to say she was just level with her oven. But she was the most powerful woman in that community because she brought people together. She showed them they were loved, and she informed them of their worth. Go make your biscuits, baby. I love you.